the 2025 SBD Sheffield is over. It is now Wednesday, so it's been a couple days since the competition, and we have a lot to talk about. I'm really excited to give you my Post-Sheffield show review, okay? But first, of course, we have to train. We are currently in week 4. So for those of you who don't know, the 4th week of the block is usually the last week of a block, which means it's the heaviest week of the block, the hardest lifts, so to speak. Today, I have a top double on deadlifts with, well, you know what? You guys are going to have to watch to find out. But first, before we train, we've got to make our pre-workout shake. Let's do it.
Ready?
Ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Okay, so finally finished training, cardio, lunch, and then we shipped out some Ironclaw gym chalk packages, and now we can finally talk about the Post-Sheffield show, or we can host the Post-Sheffield show. We can talk about Sheffield. Heidi here is my beautiful girlfriend. She's going to be our guest here. Okay, I call her the little strawberry because that's what she is. She's just a little strawberry. But she's going to be the guest here. She doesn't really know too much, but honestly, I feel like she doesn't know too much less than I know when it comes to these lifters, the data, the numbers, and whatever bullshit. Okay, so she's going to add some flavor to the commentary. I want to be clear. I think everybody who competed at Sheffield belongs there, okay? They belonged on that stage, whether they had a great performance, mediocre performance, or an absolute fucking terrible performance. What matters is it seemed like nobody got hurt, which is number one. Number two, these guys gave everything, and that was very obvious, okay? And that's something, there's honor in that. And as a competitor, I think that's what makes competing special, is having opportunity to go all in, to give everything, seeing just how far you can push your body. And I think that's what every athlete did. And so because of that, I'm really proud of all the athletes. And okay, without further ado, let's just dive right into it. So experience-wise. So what did you think of the Sheffield that you didn't watch?
That was great.
It was great, right?
Not as good as last year.
You know what though? You would have liked this one because I think the colors were pink and black.
I know, I saw that.
You saw that,
but
right?
You weren't in it, so.
I wasn't in it.
It wasn't as good.
It wasn't as good. And to be honest with you, I'm not saying this because I'm biased. I had a lot of people reach out to me and say that the Sheffield was not as exciting and for whatever reason, just not as fun to watch. They said it felt a little stale, and I would agree. I do think that the Sheffield felt a little stale. For whatever reason, it wasn't as exciting. There just wasn't as much flair. And that's nothing to take away from the athletes, although I do think that there were fewer athletes that were showmen. Once I think you step on a stage like that, your job as an athlete goes beyond executing on the platform. It becomes what kind of conversation do you have with the audience, right? And what is your energy, and how do you translate that? And, look, people can make the argument that who gives a fuck? Like, at the end of the day, you're there to compete. You're there to lift weights. I totally understand that. However, when people are paying money to spectate, to view you, to see a show, you have to give them a show, okay? Like, that's part of it. Maybe your personality as a showman is to be very nonchalant, is to be very calm and composed and act like you don't give a fuck. That's fine. But there needs to be something. And again, that's just kind of part of what is paid for in a way. And if you're an athlete and you'd be like, well, I don't like that, I don't agree with that, well, like, that's what you kind of signed up for. You know what I mean? Like, stick to local meets then. I don't know what to tell you. Enough of the rant about that. But yeah, I did think it was a little bit stale. That said, I thought it was phenomenally done. I thought the live stream was really smooth, really clean. I had a great time watching it. I thought the angles were great. I would have liked to see more of the crowd, although I have a feeling that it's just difficult for them to really show the whole crowd, show the whole room based on what they're working with in terms of the venue and how they can set up. But I definitely would have liked to see more of the crowd for sure. But other than that, what else? What is there to fucking complain about? I feel like, especially now, the live streaming technology and the way that they set it up, Pete Spence and Justin Nutt and the whole team, they all do a phenomenal job of making sure that all loose ends are tied, and they improve upon everything each year, which is great. I thought that they did a great job. I thought, like I said, the live stream was just super, super smooth. I didn't really watch anything in between the breaks, so I don't really know what they were playing at that time. But yeah, thought it was cool. I thought it was a good event. All right, cool. Done. Let's move on. So the very first group, the very first set of performances that we should talk about, it's the 93s, naturally, okay? The 93s. Yeah. What did you think? You know what happened, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what happened? Tell us. I'd just like to hear your voice. Okay. She's nervous. It's okay. She's nervous.
No, I don't know what happened.
You don't know what happened? The world record? Yes, you do. The world record total. You know
9:20.
9:17 and a half.
9:17 and a half.
Yeah. Set by who? You know this. What's his name? You know what? It's a good thing you don't know another man's name. Emil Krostov hit the 9:17 and a half, and that's awesome. I'm really happy for him. Guys, I predicted this. Like, I called it. I said that the 93s would end around 9:15-ish, and that depending on, like, basically I thought 9:15 to 9:25, and they would only reach that upper range depending on how ballsy they were going to be. And I was right. So not to toot my own horn here, but yeah, I happen to be completely fucking spot on with this, which I should be because I am a fellow 93. So yeah, so I had predicted that it would be around 9:15, and guess what? It was around 9:15. Gustav hit 9:15. Emil had the chance to pull for 2.5 kgs above that, and so he did. He got that final pull. I'm not here to discuss whether or not it should have counted. It shouldn't. Guys, if we do that for one lifter, we have to do them for everyone. And if we do it for everyone in one meet, we have to do it for everyone in every meet. I cannot tell you how many times I've been in circumstances in which the calls of the referees, the calls of the jury were completely questionable. It happens so fucking often. So instead of talking about, well, this person got robbed and da-da-da-da, yeah, we get it, but you can't do anything about it in the past. So if you care that much, try to actually make changes moving forward, which I don't really see people doing. So that's why I don't like to listen to people bitch and moan and complain about calls, whether they were in the favor or not in the favor of a lifter. You know, it's what it is. I've been on both sides. More often than not, I'm on the side where it goes against me, and that sucks. It is what it is. It sucks. I'm not saying I'm happy about it, and I'm not saying we should just deal with it, but I am saying we shouldn't complain about it, okay? If you're going to complain about it, then use that energy towards actually changing it, okay? Now, that said, I am very proud of Emil. I am really happy that this record got crushed, and it did get crushed. I believe that this is probably the biggest gap, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the biggest gap we've seen in the 93 class between a world record being what it is going into Sheffield versus what it is coming out of Sheffield. In other words, they broke the world record by over 15 kilos. I think this is the first time we've seen that in the 93s, where a world record was broken by that much at an international level meet. Pretty sure. Not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure. Or at least at Sheffield, okay? So which is phenomenal. Now, what I will say here is I briefly spoke to Gustav. Obviously, I congratulate both lifters. I briefly spoke to Gustav, and he was upset because his handler put in a number that wasn't what he had wanted to put in. He wanted 362.5, 365 on his final pull. And looking at his 360, he definitely had that in him. His handler put in 360. I could totally understand and see why the handler would do that, especially in such a high stakes meet. It's coming right close to the end. He probably didn't think Emil would be able to hit something greater. Totally see all of that. However, what's done is done, and the reality is Gustav ended up with a 360, which put him at 915, even though he had a little bit more in the tank. Gustav had a phenomenal meet. Like, he really did. He had a world record total.
That I know.
That you knew. And I love Gustav. I love him. I think he's a phenomenal competitor. He competes with integrity, with honor, and I really respect him. I really appreciate him. He's been absolutely instrumental in pushing me to grow and to get better, and I can only hope I've done the same for him. But yeah, I love him. I think he's a great lifter, a great athlete, and so far as I know him as a person, great person. I mean, genuinely. So I'm very, very, very happy for him. I do feel his pain. I understand that. I know what's going through his mind right now. But if nothing else, this is fuel to the fire. And at least he did podium, which is true. Now, in terms of Emil's situation, again, similar thing, man. I don't know Emil as well, but he's always been very, very nice to me, and just a great athlete, great person to know. He's coached by Kedrick. I was coached by Kedrick at one point. I believe actually Gustav is as well. But Emil is fully coached, meaning programming and nutrition. And so, yeah, I like I said, nothing at all negative to say about either lifter. I think they both deserve it. I give them tons of respect for that, and I'm very excited to meet them in Germany and push that world record total way beyond what it is right now. I do think that Gustav did have 920 to 922.5 in him that day across all lifts. Emil, I think, maybe was kind of capped out a little bit, but I think he proved that he is on paper the strongest 93 right now. He has the world record. It's what it is. So that's the 93s. The 83s, okay, obviously a little bit here to talk about, which actually you might be able to offer some input in too, because you were talking about Russ, right? Mm-hmm. When I was training. Mm-hmm. So the 83s, truthfully, I'm a little upset. I am a little disheartened by seeing the 83s not have the days that they really wanted to have. Between Addy and Jurens. And, it's tough. This is powerlifting. This is the sport. The hardest truth to accept as a strength athlete is that strength is so specific, and it requires, and we're talking about top end strength, like elite level top end strength. It requires so many variables to be aligned that the amount of opportunities you have to express your utmost strength, it's very few. And it's so difficult to create those opportunities where everything is aligned. Everything has to be accounted for. Not only that, but the externals, they have to be somewhat controlled, which a lot of times you can't control them, and there's just so much. That said, your job as a champion, your job as an athlete is to perform to the highest level no matter what. You don't give yourself any excuses, right? And so that's what they did. And I'm really happy for them. I'm really proud of them. Like I said, I am a little disheartened. I really did wish Jurens and Addy were going to push a little bit harder, or we're going to be capable of a little bit more on that day. But it is what it is, man. Both of those gentlemen have, nothing really to prove to anyone. Addy had the world record total going in, and Jurens beat the person who has the world record total right now, which is Russ, right? So both of these guys have the reputation, have the resume to say, hey, look, like, I am one of the baddest 83s on the planet. Today wasn't my day, but fuck it, so what, right? And that's it. That's all it has to be. Now, Russ had a phenomenal day. I do feel bad that he didn't end up getting that last pull. I'm not going to say whether or not it was taken from him or not. Like, I didn't hear the down command, meaning like I literally was not there to hear it. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Watching the live, it did look like the bar was kind of rolling out of what looked like his overhand. I don't know, man. And honestly, I'm the type of lifter where if a lifter locks it out and shows complete control over that bar, right? Even if he ends up going from a locked out position to a soft lockout or whatever the fuck, give it to him. This is a strength sport. It's about strength expression. He was obviously strong enough to fucking lift it up and hold it there, right? So give it to him. But that's a very lenient approach, and that comes from my own bias. So naturally, I would give that lift to him for sure. But like I said, I don't really want to comment on that because, I mean, it's all hearsay. We could argue about that all day. What I will say is Russ still had a phenomenal day despite missing that third pull, which would have put him at, by the way, what I fucking predicted, I said the 83s would be around 880, 885, and that pull would have put him at, I think, somewhere around 885, which is fucking crazy. I'm a genius. I'm fucking savage. But anyway, so Russ still had a phenomenal day. It's scary how fast that squat was. That squat was absolutely insane, dude. Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah. Oh, you saw the squat?
I saw it, yeah.
You saw the squat? Okay, yeah. Tell us what you think. I've been talking a lot, so tell us, what do you think about the squat?
I thought it was extraordinarily strong. I've seen, I think, a couple of his prep videos in my feed, and they were very quick as well. So I think he totally deserved that squat, which he got, obviously.
That's an elegant response. That was a respectful response.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think his squat was really, really strong, really, really fast. For an 83 to squat 338 like that is phenomenal. I definitely do think he hit depth, and yeah, I mean, what more to say? I think he had more in the tank on squat. I think that was the perfect number to call for that. Yeah, and it's awesome because now it's going to push the boundary even further for 93s, really. I'm thinking about, my world record at 340 or 341, whatever it is, and that's nowhere near enough, nowhere near enough if you have an 83 squatting 338. I need to be squatting 800 ASAP. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, I think Russ had a great meet. Obviously, his bench came through. I think his third bench, maybe something happened on his tech. Maybe he rushed it, was a little nervous. I don't know. But you could tell it was definitely not as smooth, and it was a little bit different than what his second was. His second was just fucking stupid fast. And I thought his third was a conservative call. But then seeing it, I was like, okay, you know what? This makes sense that they did this because I don't know if he would have been able to muscle through, because he really did kind of muscle through that third attempt. I don't know if he would have been able to muscle through another 2.5 kilos. But had his tech been super on point like it was for the first and second, I think he would have been fine for another 2.5 to 5 kilos. So yeah, Russ ended with 870. I think that's fucking awesome. I do think it's about fucking time. I mean, I'm really happy for us because I think finally he's been pushed again. His career has been littered with adversity, absolutely sure, but he was kind of chilling out for a while. And finally now people have stepped up and challenged that. And that's the only way he was going to truly get better and grow. And we see that. I mean, look at what the world record total was before. It's 840 something, right? Then Delaney, I think, broke it last Sheffield, or 2 Sheffields ago now. And then it took him, Russ, losing at Worlds to not just break his own real PR and his own world, his own record, but to do it by 30 kilos, basically. I mean, that's phenomenal. It took another competitor to push him, period. Iron sharpens iron. And so I'm proud of him for taking that on, taking it head on, and embracing that challenge and coming through the other side victorious on that front. So now Jesus, Pana, Wascar, Ashton, and Perk. That's a lot of people. Well, is there anybody so far, 93s, 83s? Is there anything else you want to comment on that?
No, let's get to Jesus.
Let's get to Jesus. Okay, so Jesus is a good friend of mine, and I really feel for Jesus. I know he works really, really fucking hard. I know he pushes himself really, really hard, and I love his family. I love his brothers, just really great people. And so to see him not have the day that I know he was preparing himself for is hard to watch, but it's also necessary. As a friend who, look, I don't know if he feels this way about me, and it's totally fine if he doesn't. But the way that I feel about, especially competitors who I want the best for, I love them in a way, right? And so for me, I kind of see it from this view of, I'm your friend, so I'm not going to look at things and speak to you in a way that other people are going to speak to you. I'm going to look at you through a lens of truth, and I'm going to speak to you using words that are true, which is this. Jesus needed this. And he may not see it. Other athletes may think that I'm being a dick when I say this, but he needs this because he has nothing else to push him. He has nothing else. There's nobody coming close right now. Nobody. He is in a class of his own. So what that means is he has to become his own competition. I talked about this in the previous video, but he needs to fall, because when you fall, that's when you have the opportunity to rise, period. And the truth of the matter is, when you are a champion, you get back up, you keep working, you figure your shit out, you maintain the standard, if not raise the standard, and you do so with grace, with humility. And that's what this is an opportunity to do, okay? That's why I'm saying, like, don't complain about the equipment, don't complain about the jury, don't complain about the referees, don't complain about the environment. It can all be valid. It could all be 100% true. If you told me, Gav, the world's meet is like a world championship meet, it's so fast, I just don't have enough time to recover, that's why I couldn't win, you'd be right. Like, I would totally agree with that. However, just because it's correct doesn't mean anything is going to change as a result of its correctness. So we have an obligation as a champion, this is a choice, you have an obligation to say, you know what? These are my circumstances, but I'm not going to let these circumstances define me. I am going to allow this to reveal my character instead. And my character is one of fortitude, of resilience, of strength. And I think that this is the opportunity for Jesus to assume that role. And that's the period that I think Jesus is in. And I think what we're going to see is Jesus is going to accept this challenge, similar to like how Russ did, and rise above it. And so I'm really excited for him. I do feel for him. That third squat, man, was tough. I don't even think that shit was his fault. He had like a down up. I don't even think that shit was his fault, honestly. I just think that it's fucking 1,100 pounds, basically, or like 1,050 pounds, whatever it was. That shit's gonna whip, dude. Like, I mean, he's at the end where no human has done this. So it makes sense for him to encounter shit that's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? You know? Like I said, it's just probably not even his fault. But, you know, it is what it is. It's an opportunity for him to get better. And I know he sees it that way. But yeah, so I was definitely felt for him seeing the performance that he had, because I know it's not the performance he wanted and he deserved, meaning, you know, he put in the work for. However, I also see how necessary this is for him, because you need the trials, man. You need the adversity. You need the pain. It's the only way you can grow. And think about it this way, dude. This is the last bit of my rant here, but as an athlete who competes at the highest level, you already push yourself to a fucking crazy degree. You're already more insane than everyone else. So what do you think it's going to take for you to push yourself even further? It's going to take some really hard lessons, some really big punches to the gut. And that's what this was, right? You're not the average person, so you don't get to get average punches, you know? Yeah, what did you want to say about Jesus? I've been talking a lot, honestly.
Yeah, I've been letting you go. No one cares what I say anyway. I love Jesus. I think he's a great guy. I had the opportunity to meet him. Was it just once?
Maybe it was once in Sheffield.
Sheffield, yeah. Last year. And obviously I think he's a great person, just, you know, as he is, let alone a competitor. He's obviously amazingly gifted with strength. And he is very clearly a phenomenal winner. I think even being there with him the day after Sheffield last year, he was very genuine, and he was very collected, and he presented himself in a very fashion-forward way. So he was very good about it. And I think, just to Gavin's point, this is an opportunity to kind of, if anything, obviously grow as a person, but I think also his fans, this is kind of like an important switch as well, which I think is going to be cool for his fans to kind of follow along with him. I think everyone loves Jesus. I think that's clear to see, but yeah, I think this will be an opportunity.
Yeah, you didn't catch any of his lifts though, right?
His third squat.
You saw his third squat?
On Instagram.
Oh yeah, on Instagram. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that third deadlift too, dude, his deadlifts, man, I felt so bad about his deadlifts, because I know he's been working really hard on those. Yeah, it sucks, dude. I don't know what happened on the first deadlift. I think he got too amped up, maybe. I think he lost his balance. And unfortunately, truthfully, I think he poured so much of his soul into, I saw his face. I've been there. I've had that face on, where you are in a zone. It's difficult to get to, but when you're there, the world melts away. You are in the deepest, darkest pit of emotions, and usually it's negative emotions. As you prepare yourself to do what no man has ever done. And it's a dark place to be, but you guys don't understand like how heavy it is and how insanely intense it is. Because of that, when you don't succeed, despite that, what happens is you get thrown down the stairwell. You basically feel like I just gave every ounce of myself for nothing. And so all of those negative emotions that you use to fuel yourself become justified. And unfortunately, that can, what's the best way to describe this? It's like a domino effect. So when that happens, you now have to make a choice as to whether or not you're going to allow that carry throughout the meet, or you're going to say, absolutely not, fuck that, I'm taking control of my mind. Okay, that happened, done, we're moving forward. It's done, it's gone, we're still going to win this motherfucker. You know what, fuck that third squat, I didn't need it anyway. That's a mindset shift, and it's so hard to do that in the moment. It really is, especially when you're coming from this emotional place of just, when I say like pure raw emotion, that is where you're at. I mean, like going for, well, I didn't do this for the last Sheffield I competed, but the first Sheffield I competed, I got myself to a point where I could literally taste like the metal of a muzzle in my mouth, like a gun, like cocked and loaded in my mouth and ready to blow. And I gave myself every reason. I'm getting chills talking about it right now. I gave myself every reason I needed to pull the trigger. So when I got under the squat, when I tell you, I almost was like if there was a spectrum and on one end it's I want to live and on the other end it's I want to die, I was beyond the end of that spectrum. And that's what it took for me to get myself that fight or flight. That, I mean, I don't even know if there are words I can use to describe the level of depth there. Now, maybe I'm fucking weird, maybe I'm stupid, and that's not how it's supposed to be done, but I don't really know any other way. And as I get stronger, I become more capable of hitting crazy lifts at peace. And that's fine, that's great. But every now and then, and honestly, there's some fun in it. Every now and then, you want to just let loose. You know, you live your life as like this tame civil individual, and in this one moment you get to completely change everything. You get to be, if anybody comes in front of you, you literally rip their esophagus out with your fucking canines. So you don't get too many chances to be like that, especially as a man. So that's your opportunity, right? Okay. So I saw that in Jesus going for the third squat, and for him to miss it, despite him going to that place, is very hard to recover from. And I think that played a role in his performance in the deadlift, for sure. Aside from the fact that, I mean, I'm sure he was beat by the time deadlifts came around too. But yeah, I think he's going to do okay, though. I think he's going to be all right. That hand-ripping thing on that third deadlift was strange. I saw that video. I don't know if he used Ironclaw gym chalk, bro. I sent him a bag of it like a week out. Knowing him and knowing really any elite level lifter, nobody's really changing equipment a week out before a meet. It's too risky. You'd have suspicions about it, and you don't want to do that. So I doubt he used the chalk. I asked him. He hasn't responded yet. I don't think he used the chalk. He would have told me. But I bet you if he did use the chalk, it probably wouldn't have happened. No, I'm only kidding. That's fucked up. That's a bad plug.
We need to move on.
We need to move on. All right, this is getting terrible. No, I hope he heals well. His hand was ripped. Whatever chalk he was using, I don't know if it was a chalk, I don't know what it was, but his hand was completely ripped open and several calluses were bleeding, which means that it was only kind of a matter of time. So, yeah, man, it is what it is, but I know that he's going to be better as a result. Okay, the next few are going to kind of fly by. So, Pana, really proud of Pana for stepping in. I don't know if he really came too close to the world record. I don't really remember, but I think he did really well. Wascar, another American athlete, first time at Sheffield, again, did phenomenally well. I think that he didn't have the meet he wanted, obviously. But what I will say is he came in clutch for that world record deadlift, which I know he really, really wanted, which is phenomenal. Ashton, you know who I'm talking about when I say Ashton? The guy who squatted 826? I think I showed you him. 826-pound squat.
In what class?
He's 105. He looks like a gorilla.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody knows that. Ashton has been one of my favorite lifters for a long time. He has been one of my favorite lifters for a long time. In fact, the gray Reeboks that I used to wear, I only bought those years ago because he was wearing them at that time. Yeah, I mean, and actually, you guys want to know a cute little story real quick? So
the story of how Gavin and I met.
Well, it only took me 10 months to ask you out after that, so.
Anyway.
But we definitely had a great time meeting each other. Now, that actually is probably, that's not a cute story. That's the story, okay?
That's the story.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I actually just asked Heidi to be my Valentine this year, today, actually. So maybe I'll throw a picture up of you and the flowers. But she did say yes, thank God.
I did.
That would have been scary.
I did.
Yeah. But
Anyway.
anyway, so fucking Ashton. So yeah, so cute little story. When I won, when I lost to Keiko by like a pound at 2021 Raw Nationals a long time ago, I got invited for the Junior Worlds team, but I also had the potential to be an alternate for the Open Worlds team. And what do you call it? And Ashton reached out. Ashton, and at this time, like, I mean, I'm nobody now. I don't think I'm anybody special, but back then I really was nobody. And he went out of his way to message me and basically say, hey, look, if you get this opportunity to go to Worlds, take it because you have a lot of talent and I think you're going to do great. Basically what he said. And I remember shedding tears because, you know, for me, I was working so hard to gain some notoriety, some recognition, to be somebody. And this was like the first sign of my success was somebody who I looked up to giving me that acknowledgement. So yeah, so I love Ashton. I think he had a phenomenal meet despite the pec injury. I'm really happy that he played that safe. The fucking squat is insane. 826 pounds is fucking insane. Absolutely. Like, he is the lifter that I look up to in a lot of ways. I look up to is a wrong word, but who I'm inspired by often because he really just he literally defies gravity. Like, he defies the laws of physics, and it's fucking awesome to watch, and it always inspires me. If I see him do something, then I know I can do something. And I remember I used to watch him do like RDLs with 675 and all sorts of shit. I'm like, okay, like if this is fucking possible, then I can do this. And now here I am, you know? So it is pretty incredible. I love seeing him compete. I look forward to sharing the platform with him again. And that 826 squat is still by far my favorite lift of the entire meet for sure. Probably my favorite lift of all of the Sheffields that have happened, that obviously, you know, lifts that I haven't done. Yeah, I just to see him squat is just fucking insane. And again, even though he wasn't feeling his best, even though he was a little injured, I think he still did great. And I don't know if these guys are going to show up to nationals or not. You know, any of these American athletes, I don't know what their plans are. I know that Ashton has World Games, so if I were him, I don't know. I maybe you show up to nationals. I don't know. I really don't know. It's tricky because I don't know if his pec will heal in time. He's only got 8 weeks. I don't know. If I were him, I would show up to nationals. But again, if he already won Worlds, and he's probably thinking about World Games more than he's thinking about the next World Championship. So, you know, I don't know. But yes, that's Ashton. And then Perk. Perk obviously had a great meet. Even though it's still not the meet that he wanted, I think he still did phenomenally well. He squatted well over 700 pounds as a 74-kilo lifter. That's fucking insane. You could tell he was off by his deadlifts. I don't know if it was the pressure. I don't know if, I know in his comment or in his caption on Instagram, he said that he wasn't as mentally and physically prepared for this as he would have liked to be, which, look, I'm not going to judge everyone's situation. Like, things happen, man. I think he's having a kid. He got married. Like, so many beautiful things are happening in his life, and who knows what's going on outside of that. So I hope everything's okay. But he did have a lot of time to prep for this, so to physically not be prepared is a little strange. I think what he might be referring to is maybe he just didn't have the momentum that he was used to having, and that will fuck with your confidence. And I've been there. Like, going into NEPFs, I had zero momentum on any of the lifts except for bench. And so my way of rectifying that was in the last 4 weeks leading up to the meet, I said, fuck this. I'm not going to wait for my squats to show up. I just went from like 700 to 720 something to 740 something in 3 weeks, and then took what we took at NAPFs, you know, and it is what it is. Like, sometimes you got to do that. But I think maybe that's what he was referring to. But yeah, according to him, he just wasn't mentally, physically ready. And it sucks because, like I said, it's powerlifting, man. You know, you only get 9 attempts. You'll work your whole life for 9 attempts. And it sucks when things don't align. But at the same time, you know, sometimes it's do or do not. There is no try. You know, like I said, you have to give yourself no fucking option. And I think that's what he did. I think he performed great in spite of the circumstances and all that. Also, at the end of the day, though, too, like, it's a championship meet and you signed up for it. So you got to give your all. Like, you don't get extra credit for giving everything at a Sheffield competition. Like, that's why you're there. You know what I mean? But I am proud of him for doing that. And like I said, he did have a phenomenal performance. Even if it's not what he wanted, he can now go to nationals and do it, which is great. I don't know if he's going to go to nationals. He's probably one of the lifters who doesn't need to, but I would love to see him. I would love to see all these U.S. athletes step up and do it. I think it's necessary, honestly. You're an athlete. It's your national championship. Come and compete. Okay, do you have anything to say about Austin Perkins? No? Okay. I need you to slow down. All right, I would like to speak.
He said this video was gonna be like 10 to 15 minutes long. I think the intro was 10 to 15 minutes long.
I enjoy speaking to my audience and having this conversation. I also am doing it with you. So this is like together time. It is. You get to, it's almost like it's like take your girlfriend to work with you day. Like that's what this is. Yes. Are you having fun?
Yes.
Yes, you are. That's right. Yeah.
I want to get to
Agata. Yeah, that's where we're at right now. Agata. Okay, you can go ahead.
I just love her. As anyone would, I think. I think that's obvious.
You love Agata. I love Agata. Yeah.
I love Agata.
What are some things that you love about Agata?
Her quiet confidence is just fucking ruthless. Cause like she's not in your face. She's not, trying to be something she's not. She's not flashy. She has obvious talent, and she's not afraid to show it on the platform. But she's like genuine about it. She's just like a fucking awesome person, an awesome lifter, and she deserves Sheffield and more, in my opinion.
Yeah, she's a little fucking mini fridge, that one.
I love her. I love her.
I like Agata. I do. I appreciate how Agata is she's a power lifter. Like, that's what she does. She is a pure power lifter through and through. She doesn't care for the lights, the cameras, like none of that. She's here to lift, and that's awesome. I love that. And in a way, like, that sells because that's her persona. That's who she is, right? She's not. That's I think what I was trying to get at before. Like, I don't want you to fake anything, but let the most extreme versions of your personality come out. You know, like, yeah, I have like a cool, calm, collected side to me, absolutely. But when I go to lift, especially if it's a big lift, like I enjoy getting hyped up. So for me to hamper that would actually be me not being confident, right? Whereas for Agata, for her to get amped up and like show all that emotion might actually be her not being confident because she feels like she has to put on this facade. So, but anyway, yeah, Agata fucking killed it. I mean, what'd she do? She crushed the world record by, was it 6% or 4%, 5%, something like that. 4%, I think. Around 4%.
Just jump in weight classes too. Like, it's
no
big deal.
Dude, her fucking, I still can't believe her deficit is 2,700 calories. That right now would be like a surplus for me, which is nuts. But yeah, absolute savage. All the girls, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't want to be disrespectful. They all did phenomenally well. I wasn't paying as much attention because I was also like doing cardio, doing some work as well. And what I did see, everyone tried really hard and did really well. I know that some people didn't have the meets that they wanted, but that's okay. Sonita, I tried to watch her squats especially, and I saw that she missed the 700 something for her third. Truthfully, I don't know what happened there because I thought I saw that she put in like 711 or 716. Like, it was like 325 I thought I saw her put in, when I thought that, like, first of all, world record would have been 700 pounds, but I thought that the world record would have been like what the most important aspect of the squat would be, and to be like the first female to squat 700. I don't know. Like, I don't know if she's already done it. I don't know. I just was assuming that 700 has not been done yet. And so I was kind of concerned as to why she would put in, or wondering why she would put in 5 extra kilos when she didn't need to, you know? But either way, it is what it is, man. Like, she tried. Like, you can give her credit for trying. I mean, that's important. And then deadlifts, I know was struggling. Honestly, seeing her videos leading up, she was struggling with lockout a little bit in a lot of her, not a lot, but in some of her deadlift training videos. And I think it's tough, dude. I think it's so much like Jesus, where when you have that much mass on you, it can be difficult to find a good position and also lock out from that position. But at the same time, you know, like, that mass helps you a fuck ton in squats. Sonita did well. I know she doesn't think she did well, but I think she did really, really well. She's inspired a lot of women around the world to be stronger, and that it's okay to be strong. It's okay to be the strongest, actually. And there is, like, I don't even want to know what the percentage is of men who have ever even had 700 pounds on their back, let alone squatted it. Okay, so she should be very proud of that. Alba, same thing. I know she was like a contender for podium, and I don't know if she actually ended up podium. I know Carlina, Agata, maybe. Oh no, I think Sonita placed third. I think, yeah. But yeah, I think Alba maybe placed fourth. But her first time at the Sheffield, she's young. I commentated her session at Junior Worlds years ago in Turkey. And so it's really cool to see how far she's come as an athlete. She was super sweet when I had met her. And I think she's, look, like I said, I think she's an awesome lifter. I know she did not have, I thought I saw her post about it. She said she's upset because she didn't have the meet that she knew she was capable of. Again, dude, like, it sucks, but like, it is what it is. It's a great opportunity to now rise above it and just keep fucking sharpening yourself, especially when you're that young too. It's like, not that I'm that fucking old, but I'm 26. I don't know how old she is, but she's got to be at least like 21 or 20 or something like that. When you're that young, like, you've got 5 years minimum. Just think about where I'm at. You've got 5 years minimum to develop, right? So it's like, and I don't know if she's that young. Maybe she's 22, 23. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure she was just recently a junior, maybe still is. When you have that much time, dude, like, this is literally exactly what you want it to be. You want it to be, I performed in front of thousands of people on the biggest stage Tessa Powerlifting has to offer, and I did as best as I could, and now I'm going to learn from it. Like, that's best case scenario. Because if everything went perfectly, what would you really have learned from it? Fucking nothing, right? And then when it really counts, when it really matters, 3 years from now, when it's the Olympics, when it's the World Games, whatever, and you didn't learn enough to win that, you'd be pretty fucking upset. So I think you take everything in stride. Like I said, I'm sure she's upset about the performance, but I think she probably did great, and that's it. All of the females did great. I'm trying to think back to any particular moments for female athletes that stood out for me, truthfully. Sheffield is pretty long meet, so everything's a little bit of a blur. Even some of the guys, like, I had to think about even like who was competing. And actually, now I think about it now, this is a good place to close it out. KJELL. I forgot about the guy who literally won the Sheffield. And it's nothing against him. I literally just see what I'm saying. It's just, it's terrible. You're so distracting. Even when I'm not looking at you, just your aura.
Oh.
Your presence. Yeah, that's right. You guys taking notes? Anyway, KJELL, fucking proud of him. He's a father. He's a full-time job. He's a husband. He cut down an entire weight class and then beat the shit out of everybody. Nobody was pulling for first. Let's put it that way. Everybody was pulling for second. And it's crazy. It's crazy to see what's possible. First Jurans winning worlds, beating Russ at 38 years old. Same thing. Family man and full-time job. And now KJELL doing this. It's insane, dude. It's crazy. It's super inspiring. It means you really have no fucking excuse, dude. You have no excuse. Even though, yes, the man is literally built to powerlift. Still, I mean, really just did absolutely phenomenal. I'm excited to see where the classes go from here, especially world records wise. I'm sure he's going to finish out his season as a 66. Like, he's going to go, 2025 just started. So I'm sure he's going to go to worlds as a 66 and win worlds at 66. I don't think it would really make much sense to not do that. But, yeah, man, I'm excited for it. I'm very, very happy for him, very proud of him. I think he did a great job. Phenomenal standards of training and of lifting too. Like, he had some. Yeah, go ahead.
You said something last Sheffield to you. I thought about something like training or something for the next year so that he could. I don't know. What did he say? It was he said something that was like, I think pretty impactful, and he seemed really confident in his road forward last Sheffield. So
yeah, I mean, he was an alternate for last Sheffield. Well, technically 2 Sheffields ago. So he has a very close relationship. Yeah, well, 2024. Yeah. He has a very close relationship with SBD, which means that I'm sure they were talking to him about that. And I am sure that they made it pretty clear that they were going to invite him as a wild card. And especially if he was planning this cut. And so, that's really helpful for him to know, let's say, ahead of time. I'm not saying he did, but that's probably what happened. But yeah, I mean, he's always been super nice to me. Every time I've met him, super encouraging. Yeah, just a great guy all around. Like, I really enjoy lifting around these guys, training with these guys, sharing the platform with these guys. And that's why I look forward to doing it again, So yeah, man, I'm super excited. I really do think that 2025 is going to be absolutely insane for some of these athletes. I'm really proud of all the athletes that competed at Sheffield. Definitely curious as to what your thoughts are in terms of Sheffield and whether or not you guys think that it's what it was meant to be, or that it lived up to what it was supposed to be. I am also really, really excited for, and this is, I guess, where we'll close, really excited for Sheffield 2026 because it's white and gold.
And does it say they're sold out?
Yeah, they're sold out already, which was a genius move on SBD's part. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm not that impressed by it. Because, look, here's the thing. It's a genius move. It's a genius move. Why? Everybody who went to the... First of all, watching the Sheffield is sick. It's sick, right? You watch it on live stream, like, wow, this is cool. Okay, fine. But when you see it in person, it's literally like a concert, right? Lights, music, the best athletes in the world, 2,500 people there for powerlifting, for the one little hobby that you do, the one sport that you've committed your life to. 2,500 people here. When does that ever happen? You're lucky if your own gym has 25 people to share the sport with, right? So you're there, you fucking love it, you think it's amazing. So right off the press, like right after it ends, they make the tickets go live. I guarantee you that at least 70% of those ticket sales are people who purchase tickets for this Sheffield. And they simply are feeling the high of having been there, of meeting all of these athletes, just all of it. So they went and bought tickets right away again. And so it was a genius move on SBD's part, like genius. And each year it's gotten easier and easier for them to sell out. Last year they started selling tickets way later. And I think they ended up selling out obviously, but I think it was a little bit of a slower process for them. Whereas this year they realized like, no, we got to sell this shit right fucking away. Because like I said, right hot off the press, even if you didn't go there live, just being a part of the buzz, seeing everything, whatever, and you kind of feel like you missed out. So now you want to make sure you never miss out again. And so I think that's what's happening. Plus, it's also the last year they're doing it in that venue. So for the foreseeable future. So pretty crazy. I will be there because it's white and gold. It's white and gold. I didn't buy a ticket. I will be there as an athlete. It's white and gold. That is my fucking colors. That's the, hold on. The gym chalk.
Quick plug.
Innocent plug. Well, not so much innocent. Guys, I hit a deadlift PR today using this chalk. Yeah, 2 reps, okay? And it was not just 2 rep PR, but it was so smooth. Yeah, so white and gold, that's my shit, dude. So I will absolutely be there, and I have every intention of winning. So I'm very excited for it. And, I heard that there's 2 meets in 2026. January and then November, I think. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, but super excited. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for sticking around. I know this was a long video, and thank you for sticking around. Yeah, that was cute. That was nice. We should do this more often. No one gives a flying fuck what I have to say. No, that's not true. It was fun. That's not true at all. Cool. That's not true. You're like I said, it's like the flavor. Like you can't just eat icing. You'd need the cake, but cake without icing is like
the flavor packet to ramen. Like you need the flavor packet.
The flavor packet. Flavor packet to ramen. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, ramen, technically ramen is the noodles, but you need the flavor packet.
But what they don't know is you're a little bit more spicy than you are sweet, so. I don't know.
And on that note.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Last final call here or final note here is this is obviously more of like a commentary, Sheffield-ish show, whatever. We'll resume the informational videos ASAP. I've got one filmed on deadlifts. In fact, the whiteboard still has some of the markings on it. I'm going to edit that and drop that right after I drop this. All right. See you guys in the next video.